Hello, everybody. We have started this beautiful chapter on Karma Yoga, chapter 3, and we know that the chapter began with a question by Arjun, and the question was out of confusion. He understood that there are two paths, the path of knowledge and the path of karma, action. He also understood that the path of jnana is the superior one, is the higher one, is the direct one to moksha. And if the goal is moksha, why should I not follow that path which is direct as opposed to this path of action, which I think is lower, is indirect? Why should I go for the lower one when I can go for the higher one? Direct answer to this question would have been, no, Arjun, you think you're qualified, but you're not. But Bhagwan is not rude like us, like me. So Bhagwan is very diplomatically now answering the question by saying that there always have been two paths, Arjun. There's the path of the knowledge for the intellectuals, for Sankhyans, those who are into, coming from the word Sankhya, intellectuals, logical thinking, those who want to know the why and how of every single thing. For those type of people, the path of knowledge is there, it's always there. But then there are others who are more rajasic, who have a to-do list, in today's language, constant to-do list, for those whose minds are not yet that settled down, those minds which are not very purified, for those minds, for those type of people, and majority of us are of that nature, the path of karma is prescribed. Then Bhagwan goes on to say, don't think that the path of karma is inferior or anything. The idea is to obtain naishkarmya, which I explained. Naishkarmya is not a giving up of physical action, but a mental giving up of the doership and enjoyership notion. What is that notion? I am the one that is doing this action, and I will be the one who will enjoy the results. So just a mere physical giving up of action, which you think it is. That's what Arjun is thinking. That's why he wanted to leave the war and go. You think, yeah, okay, I'll just give up action. What's the big deal about it? It is a very big deal to give up action, because your mind is not going to allow you to give up that action. So it is not a physical giving up, it is a mental giving up of that action. And for the mind to give up action, the mind has to be extremely dispassionate. For us to give up even like our old clothes, we need dispassion, because we think, oh, maybe I will be able to, oh, this is my favorite, I liked it so, and then otherwise, oh, this person whom I love so much gave it to me, now how can I give that? Even this is how the mind tricks us. So the mind is very powerful. So if the mind is not ready, there is no point in giving up action at a physical level. So that's why he said this Naishkarmya Siddhi, which is to be achieved. Yes, Naishkarmya Siddhi is the goal, but it doesn't mean that you give up the action physically. And nacha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi gachati. Just by a physical renunciation, you're not going to get the goal. You're not going to get samadhi. Why? Bhagwan explains in the next verse that understand that even for a minute, for a fraction of a second also, we cannot remain without doing action, because everything is falling under the purview of action. Even seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, all the circulation, digestion, eating, sleeping. I will not do anything. I will just sleep. Yeah, but sleeping is an action. So there is no escape from action at all for human beings. And the reason is that the actions are being done, are happening because of the interaction of the gunas, because of interaction of prakriti, which is comprised of sattva, rajas, gunas. Prakriti equals, okay, it is not the attributes of prakriti are sattva, rajas. It is not like that. It is prakriti is sattva plus rajas plus tamas, and this prakriti is what is pushing everybody to act. So unless you control that prakriti, You cannot win over action. You cannot give up action. So without the control on that prakriti, you are now physically trying to give up action. It's going to be extremely difficult. No, it is going to be impossible, because you are then going to go into some other action which is not required. Like for Arjun, he said, I will beg, which was not his duty, anything. So this karyate avasha is, you are under the influence. You are under their power. Vasha is, vashikrita means, vasha is, the meaning of vasha is like when I go under control of somebody, then that somebody is controlling me. I'm under the vasha of that other person. This way, this is what it means. So this, you are under the control of prakriti. Right now, Arjun, you are under the control of prakriti, and that prakriti is going to push you to act. So that's why your physical renouncing of action is no good, So mentally, you need to first control prakriti, and then physically the action will automatically drop. What happens is action drops. Action has to drop like the autumn leaf dropping from the tree. So there is no pain to the leaf and there is no pain to the tree. But when we try to forcefully pluck the leaf, maybe in the spring or summer, there is pain at both ends. And so what Arjun is trying to do is forcefully giving up action. There's going to be pain, and it's going to be very difficult. This is what Bhagavan is now trying to tell him. So here we saw this verse 5, and we are now going to go into 6. Understand that even for a second, man cannot live without doing action, because actions are happening because of, see, we think I am doing the action, so I can give up the action. That's where the mistake is. See, if I'm supposed to fight, I will give up the fighting. This is what Arjun, he doesn't know that he is not the one who is doing, Prakriti is pushing him to act. So that's where we have to understand that it is Prakriti. If we can understand that, we will attain Naishkarmya Siddhi. But unless we understand, until we understand that we are not doing it, somebody else is making us do it, we cannot give up action. We cannot give up action. This is the point. Now he goes on to another verse, next step. Karmendriyani sanyamya yaste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasya uchyate. He who, restraining the organs of action, sits thinking in his mind of the sense objects, he of deluded understanding is called a hypocrite. So this verse 6 is opposite, not opposite. What Bhagavan has said in the verse 5 is that we cannot live without action. Okay, fine. A person, though, who gives up the action, but in his mind, there are still desires. See, what was Arjun doing? He was giving up the what? Do you think he gave up the desire to take revenge because Draupadi was derobed, because Duryodhan was so bad? You think that thought did he give up? No, that thought he didn't give up. He couldn't, like in 1 minute, he cannot give up that thought. For ages, for years, he had harbored that dislike, hatred for Duryodhan. All of a sudden, he can't give up. Now he's giving up the action. Okay, so Bhagavan is saying such a person means you will be a mithyachari hypocrite. You're doing something, but in your mind, there is something else. What is hypocrisy? In your mind, you something other is there, but outside you, the example they give is of this bird. I don't know whether it's called flamingo. I used to see it on this Fraser River. There's this bird. It will stand at the bank of the river on one leg. Okay, eyes closed. So people think it is meditating. See, one leg, tapasya. I have seen this, huh? Actually, the eyes are not fully closed. They're only half closed. And you know what he's doing? He's waiting for the small fish to come surface. And the minute that fish comes, it will pounce and it will take the fish. That's the example in Shastras given for hypocrite. That's a hypocrite. Where you should, I'm meditating. On one foot, I'm doing so much tapasya. But he's actually waiting for his food, for that fish to come. So there are 3 kinds of people, they say, see, the desire, I've always told you, desire is a thought. Man cannot live without thought. So man has got, actually, the very fact that birth has happened is telling us there are desires. So there is no problem with having desires, because desire also is something which you have no control over. Okay. So you have desires, then there will be some people who will do anything to fulfill them. That is not correct. So, but we say by hook or by crook, legal, illegal, ethical, unethical, moral, whatever ways I can fulfill, this is my desire and I'm going to fulfill it. That is not correct. Then there are some people who have desires and they will work hard for it. They will work ethically, morally, legally, everything will be correct, and they are trying to fulfill their desires. And truly, there is no problem with that either. There is no problem with that. When you're acting correctly to fulfill the desires in your mind, it's okay. It's okay. Then there are these people who have got the desires in the mind, but they will not act. They are the hypocrites. Here there is a problem. This is a problem. Okay. This is what Bhagavan is saying here. When we have desire, what we are leading into now, we have desires. Those desires, if we suppress them, they will come up in double force at some other time. So suppression should happen to lead into sublimation. There are two words, suppression and sublimation. Suppression is when you are just, it's like basically Arjun. What he would have done, he suppressed his desire to, and then he's running away from the war, which means that at some later point, that suppressed desire is going to come up in a greater force and make him do something which he will regret. So suppression is not good. It should not be done. Instead of suppressing a desire, you work for it and you fulfill it. It's better. It's better. Okay. Now, this suppression, the other word is sublimation. Sublimation is a surrender of that desire at some higher altar. Okay. So the best example is, yes, a young mother, of course, she loves to sleep through the night. But then the child is waking up in the middle of the night, right? To feed it, to change it. So now what she does is she suppresses her desire, but she is doing it for a higher altar. So that suppression, which leads to self-respect, is sublimation. So what happens is there is no regret. There is no, I had to give up this. There is no that sort of a feeling. So suppression leading to self-respect, and then what it gives you is self-confidence also. Oh, it was okay. I woke up last night and I took care of this baby of mine, and that's fine. I can do it. Because previously when I didn't have the baby, I was the queen of my own castle, and then I slept through the night and everything was fine. So suppression can happen, but it needs to lead you into sublimation. So in the beginning stages, no need to suppress, work for it. But correct means always have to be correct. They can never be incorrect. That is wrong. That is not the way to fulfill any desire. I've got a desire, so let me go rob a bank, and all those things are not allowed. Okay. So you work, you get a job, work hard, fulfill your desires. Then start, this is where sort of tapasya comes. There are certain desires you say, it's okay if it's not fulfilled. You will come to the mind will come to that stage. Okay. So what Bhagavan is saying here is, if you have desires and if you don't work, and now he's going to go into principles of how do I work to fulfill those desires. So points here are that if you have desires, you must work for them by correct means. Okay. Do not suppress the desire. What is advisable and what needs to be done is sublimation of desire, so that the mind starts quietening. In suppression, the mind is not going to become quiet. Constantly that desire, I should have done it. I should have done it. In sublimation, it's okay. I suppress this desire for a higher altar. That's fine. And therefore the mind will start quietening. Now, as opposed to this mithyachari or hypocrite who is having desires but not working for it outside, is the other person. And this is an important verse number 7. Yastitmin Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarbhatir. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarbhatirjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. But there is a tu there. So tu means but. So but means as opposed to the previous type of a person, and the previous type of person is a hypocrite, as opposed to him, yaha tu indriyani. So, but whosoever controlling the senses by the mind, O Arjuna, engages his organs of action in karma yoga without attachment, he excels. First principle of karma yoga, converting karma to karma yoga, has been given without attachment. Underline that, without attachment. So without attachment to what? Without attachment first to karma itself. How do I, okay, what is being said in general here? And there is imp in my father's writing. So this is imp coming from Swami Purushothamananji. The one who has desires, he is controlling his mind, but his organs of action are in full force. What was the previous person doing? Organs of action under control, mind not under control. That is not allowed. Now this person is mind under control, but the organs of action in full force. But how does he control the mind? By asakti, detachment. Detachment to what? To the action itself and to the result that is going to come. Because law of karma dictates that the result will come, whichever way. Maybe the result that he wants, he doesn't want, it's okay. Or some third result only. Any result can come, but he is now detached to both. Okay, so there is a detachment to action, which is giving him a detachment to the doership. See, there is act. First of all, most of us, you know how we do action. I like this, so I will do it. And I don't like that, so I will not do it. So who asked me? Just somebody in the other class. Yeah, Kalpan. See, the criteria of doing an action should be, is this my duty or is it not my duty? The criteria should not be, do I like to do this or do I not like to do this? This is what this is telling. This asakta, sa vishishyate, he excels. He's vishesha, he's special. Such a person is special. Now, this, how do I become detached? That is why we give the first principle of karma yoga as considering every action to be your duty, including breathing, including eating, including exercise. You say, no, this exercise is required, is my duty for my body. So it need not, that karma need not involve any other person. Even towards your own self, towards your body, you have a duty. And therefore you eat correctly, because it's not your duty to eat something wrong. It is not your duty to not exercise the body, not keep it clean, not give it a bath. All these fall under duty, and make them fall under duty. So you're like, oh my God, it's my duty to get up and go for a walk. Do it. That will give you that detachment. How does detachment come? Detachment comes with a sense of kartavya buddhi. Because detachment is doing without like or dislike. Because I like, I do it, and then because I dislike it, I don't do it. That is also coming out of ego. So we have to rise beyond like and dislike. What is rising beyond like and dislike is, like also should not, means some work that I like comes as my duty. It's okay. Not that I'm jumping up and down. Yay, that's good. You know, I like. Now some duty might come which I don't like. I should not get excited or depressed. Why should I be doing this? That shouldn't happen. So here what is happening? See, there are a few words. One word is known as kami. Okay. Kami comes from kama, which is desire. So this kami is one who has desires, but he will not work for it. He will not work for it. Okay. That's the lowest kind. The next word is karmi. Karmi, coming from karma, karmi also has desires in his mind, but he is working for them. Kami has desires, he's not working for them. So kami, the organs of action are under control. Mind is not under control. Mind is running helter-skelter in the desires, but he will not physically act to fulfill them. A karmi is better than a kami because he also has desires, but now he's working. So what his mind is also racing and his organs of action are also racing. Okay, that's allowed. You have a lot of desires, you do a lot of action, you fulfill the desires. The next step is karma yogi. So a karmi and a karma yogi, the difference is karmi also has desires, karma yogi also has desires. Please remember, we are at the stage of karma yoga. Arjun is at the stage of karma. He has desires. He wants to kill Duryodhana. He wants to kill the Kauravas. His problem became when he didn't want to kill grandfather, but other people he would have very happily killed. That's where the problem came. So karma yogi also has desires, but then what is the difference between karmi and karma yogi is karma yogi is keeping his mind under control, and the organs of actions are in full action. They're at full speed. Organs of action. So he is doing his action, recognizes that yes, I have desires, but I want to sublimate the mind. I want to quieten the mind. I want to purify the mind. So in my mind, I develop an attitude of detachment to the action, to the doership, and to the result. When you detach from the doership, detachment from enjoyership is automatic. There are not two things that you have to do. Okay, no, don't think, oh, this do I have to do, I'm doing also enjoy. No. If you detach from doership, automatic detachment will come from it. You don't even worry about enjoyership at this stage. And karma, is this my duty to do? That should be the question. It should not be, do I like to do this? Should I be doing this? You have taken up a job. For those of you who are working, you took up the job. You think at that point, should I take this job? After you take up the job, then whatever that your boss is telling you of course, understood that, then you shouldn't say, but this part of it I don't like. This is like somebody said to me, cooking is okay, but making chapatis I don't like. No, now you have to cook. Suppose if your family is used to eating roti and rice and sabzi, you cannot say, no, rice and sabzi, roti I don't like. No, that is what it is. Okay, then you can't say if you want to be a karma yogi, then you're at the level of karmi. So then you say, but you know what, that I don't like to do. So don't ask me to do that. But you've taken up the job. So you do it. So karma yogi. And the next step is karma sannyasi. This karma sannyas will be detailed in chapter 5, but we bring it here because karma sannyasi is one who has no desires in the mind, and then outwards he may act or he may not act. See, when I have no desire in the mind at all, outwardly, if I don't act, no problem. So that is a karma sannyasi, and that is naishkarmya siddhi. That's why in realized masters, I told you there are two. In Vivek Churamani, we saw that there are two kinds of realized masters. Both kinds have no desires. When I say desire, egocentric desires are not there in the mind. But one type of realized master chooses to go into the caves and do nothing. He has no desire. He considers the world to be an illusion. He says, what in this illusory world can I do, and who can I teach? And they're all dream people. So what is there to teach? He goes away. That's okay. It's allowed because he doesn't have a desire in his mind. The other type of master, being compassionate, he says, okay, the world is an illusion. I know that, but these poor people don't know that. So I will come and teach them. Don't think that the realized master thinks that the world is real and we are all real and all that, but he feels compassion. It's like the man who is dreaming and screaming, please help me from the tiger. The person who is awake in the room, what he will feel? Only compassion. So that is the position. That is the position of the karma sannyasi, and that is Naishkarmya Siddhi. That is the fourth stage. That is the highest stage. And that will be detailed in chapter 5. But right now, understand. So Kami, not allowed, hypocrite. Karmi is not a hypocrite because he says, hey, I want a big house, I want a big car, I want this, I want promotion. So I'm working hard, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to go to that Naishkarmya Siddhi, if you want to reach that stage, for us, we need to be at the stage of Karma Yoga. Karmi is also not allowed for us. Okay, Karma Yoga, where you would now start the first step, every action to be done with a sense of duty. So impose, that is a deliberate superimposition. See, in case of a job and all that, that's why when you give the interview, you read what is expected of you. And if you think that you can't do it, or if you're desperate for money and you say, okay, I'll take this, this is not my whatever, but once you accept it, then you accept that this is all now falling under the purview of duty. Then you must do it. Whether you like it or not like it, you must do it. Okay, such a person, Bhagavan says, excels. So he is better than he's actually far better than the hypocrite. Even the karmi is far better than the hypocrite, kami. Karma yogi is even better. This is karma yogi, because why? He brought in the point of asakta, detachment. He has brought in the point that this karma, that means he's telling Arjun, you do this action of fighting the war, but do it with detachment. Okay, clear? Now, niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo ya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate nate prasiddheta karma. Sorry. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo ya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheta karmanaha. Do you perform your bounden duty? Okay, for action is superior to inaction. Even the maintenance of the body would not be possible for you in inaction. So, niyatam kuru karmatvam. Kuru, do. Kuru is a verb there. So, do your niyatam kuru. Now, here, there are, which I think Neil had brought up this question of if I watch games, Super Bowl on Sunday or whatever. Here we see that. What is this niyatam karma? In Karma Kanda, there are 5 types of karmas that have been enumerated. The first is called as the nitya karma. I'll just tell you the names, then I'll tell you the English names. Nitya, naimittika karma, kamya karma, Nishiddha karma, and Prayashchitta karma. So there are 5 types of karma which are enumerated in the Karma Kanda portion of Vedas. Okay. Now, the Karma Kanda, so Nitya is daily duties, Naimittika is occasional duties. See, the karma, their word is translated as duty. It is not, because karma actually means action. So you can say daily actions, occasional actions. No. Daily duties. Okay, occasional duty, desirous duty, kamya karma. So that kamya also becomes a duty, and we'll explain how. Nishiddha karma means something that it's a don't do. Nishiddha is don't. And prayashchitta is atonement if some mistake happens. If you do something which you're not supposed to do, then Karma Kanda will also give you an action. That is also an action, which is atonement, prayashchitta. Okay. Now, the main difference between the Karma Kandis are the Purva Mimamsa people. Purva Mimamsa people are those who have their full faith in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. They believe in the Vedas. They believe in God. Okay. But their complete faith is in these 5 karmas. And what they say is that if you follow these 5 types of karmas to a T, you can get liberation. That's where Vedanta has a problem. Vedanta also says, follow all these to a T. That also we also say, and that's what we are going to explain now, how we follow all those. So Vedanta also says, Bhagavan Shankaracharya also says, no, I do, because it's come from the Vedas. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya is not going to say this is wrong. It is correct. The 5 types of karmas are correct, have to be followed, correct. But if you think that only doing that karma will give you liberation, wrong. That's where that's where we don't agree. Okay. Now, to just give you an example of this Nishida karma and Prashita karma, like how, so that you understand how powerful this thing is. The chief exponent of this karma kanda was a person named master named Kumarila Bhatta. Sorry, he had 2 disciples and all that, but Kumarila Bhatta was his name. So Kumarila Bhatta, he believed that if I followed, and he followed his daily duty, his occasional duties, his kamya karma, all these duties he would follow. Now, what happened was, once he wanted to study Buddhism in great detail. And so he went and joined a Buddhist monastery and he lied to them. He lied. He did it. Okay. So he studied Buddhism. But then what happened was, these other disciples, Buddhist disciples, something he must be doing in his room, his own puja, whatever, they kind of figured it out that this guy cannot be a Buddhist. He's lied to us. Now they went to the master, and okay, now according to their principles, the punishment for lying was to throw the person off of a cliff. That was their rules. So, but Kumaril Bhatta said, yes. When they confronted him, he said, yeah, that is true that I lied. The reason was that I wanted to study your philosophy in detail, and this was the only place that I could do it, like complete details I would get here. But I am actually a Hindu, and I am, They said, okay, then our punishment is throwing you off the cliff. He said, yeah, that's fine. I accept. But when they took him to the cliff, what he said was, he said to Shruti Mata, see, there's such followers of Vedas. That's why I'm telling you this point, this very important point. He said, Shruti Mata, if I have followed you to a T with complete faith, then you will save me. That was his last prayer. And even though they threw him off the cliff, he lived. He lived. See, power of the Vedas. He's following that portion of the Vedas. Even that much, if we follow, Vedas will save us. So he lived. But even though he lived as per his principles, he had done a Nishiddha karma, right? Forbidden. He lied. Lying is a Nishiddha karma. So his own Prashchit karma for this lie was to burn himself alive. That was his. And he accepted it. He was an see, the master, if the master, now he's telling all this to his, if he does, Arey Baba, you lied and now you don't. So he said, no, that is my, see, throwing off the cliff was their punishment. He didn't accept their punishment. And the Vedas saved him because he did follow the Vedas. So he said, if I have to follow the Vedas, then this karma kind of portion is telling me that for this particular type of a lie, whatever it is, that I lied to this thing. So he sat in the middle of a field and he set fire to the field. And he immolated himself. Okay. The little further part of this story is that after he set fire to that field, Bhagavan Shankaracharya reached there. And he called out, he was in the middle of the field and there was all fire. He called out, he said, I've come to do discussion. You have to do discussion with me because I'm challenging you for a Vedantic discussion. That time Kumarila Bhatt said, no, my Prashchit karma has begun. I cannot leave it now. Because you see, then that he could have said, oh, okay, now I'll come and see that also. He said, no, this I have to complete, but I'll tell you what, my leading student is there, Mandan Mishra. You go to him. Tell him, I have sent you. He will argue, he will discuss Karma Kanda versus Vedanta with you on my behalf. And that's how then the rest of the story is. But this point about these karmas is, This is the point, okay? And they believe that if I do this, I will get, but that is not true. Now, this niyatam karma is the first karma, nitya karma, daily duty. What falls under daily duty is you're going to brush your teeth, you're going to shower, whatever little puja you do, or if for those of you who are working, take the school to children, go to work on time. Every day, something that you would do every single day. You will have your lunch, you will have your dinner, all this. That's why daily duty. So you will take proper rest for the body. The body has to be properly rested, properly cleaned, properly dressed, properly fed. All this falls under daily duties. Okay, so every single day. So we are taking this, Vedanta is taking this. So every action that you do on a daily basis, do it with a sense of duty. All right. Naimitika, occasional is, as per the Vedas, it is, when we do Shraddha karma. It's not daily that we do, once a year. Occasional karma here also for our, in context with our life, fast. If I decide to fast every Monday, every Saturday, or occasional duty for students is, okay, now my exam is approaching. Now for 1 month, I won't see any movie or watch any TV. Because exam is not on a daily basis. It's maybe once a year or once in 3 months. So 1 week before the exam, I need to study. That also becomes an occasion. It's not a daily, every single day that you have to do it. So that is Naimitika karma, which is an occasional. So occasionally there'll be such duties. Or occasionally you might be asked to do overtime at work. It's not that every single time, every single day you are asked to do overtime, but occasionally you might be asked. Occasionally somebody might ask for help. They need a ride to the airport. They need something. Okay, this is occasion. So all this type of duty, though from the Vedas, it is like, or some people, do puja, Satyanarayan puja every Purnima. Once a month Purnima comes, then they do that is all occasional duty. Okay, so whatever you choose, fine. This Kamya karma now, this is what I would like to do. See, even Shruti allows that. Vedas allow, because see, they know that people have got desires. So occasionally I go for a movie, for me personally, now if you change that Kamya karma into a Nitya karma, means now I like to see every day I will go for a movie. Now that is wrong. Kamya karma is even, it's to be done occasionally only, sometimes, but occasional karma is what, which I have taken up as a, like, suppose if I've decided that I will do Shraddha karma for my parents or for my forefathers, or I will do this puja, that is, you cannot take up, oh, I will definitely go for a movie every week. That is not, but occasionally you want to entertain, you want to be entertained. So occasionally maybe you want to invite people, or you want to get invited for of course, all that is now stopped, but let's pre-COVID or hopefully post-COVID. So occasionally you'll get invited for a dinner or lunch or whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But if you start making it into like a daily habit, and especially whatever is your daily duty, if you leave that, and if you do this, that is also not correct. You cannot finish your daily duty. That's why even last year I said, if I have to go for a movie, then I've psyched myself up that, am I prepared for my lectures? And if I'm not, I'm like, okay, now I'm feeling guilty, right? So I will quickly do all my studying and everything, reading and everything. And okay, now I'm free to go for a movie. So that is okay. And then prayashit karma, nishida, which should not be done, period. And the last one, prayashit, okay, if you have done something, then atonement. But like I told you, karma kanda atonement is different. Now, from a Vedantic standpoint, how these duties are to be done. What Vedanta says, what Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, or what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling here, is that all these duties, see, karma kandi people are doing it with doership. This is my duty and I will do it. I will do occasional duty. So it could actually give them ego, pride, right? See, I get up at this time and I definitely every day I brush and every day I floss and every day I take bath and every day I do puja. So that is where the difference is now. So as a karma yogi, I must do all those things, but I must understand that it is my gunas that are pushing me to do that. I have got nothing. So even your daily duties you do with detachment. That is where Vedanta comes in. All these 5 karmas, we have no problem. We have to do every daily duty, occasional duty. If we have said don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, all those don'ts apply to us also. Just because we and karma yoga is not an escape. Like, oh, I am not the doer, so why don't I just go rob a bank? No, that's wrong. That is not allowed. So what we are saying is, all of these karmas you do, I mean, not Nishida karma, please. Nishida karma don't do. If you don't do Nishida karma, Prashchit karma, what happens is when that doership only is removed from there, there remains no need for Prashchit karma, atonement. Atonement comes when you are taking ownership of that Nishida karma. That's what Kumari, he said, I lied, he said. Because I wanted to study, whatever his reasons were. Maybe his reasons were noble, but still he lied. And because of his belief in the Vedas, he was protected, but his own punishment he took and he burnt himself. His own punishment, he said, no, this is the punishment for. But if we are doing things, like I told you, kriya, there is no atonement for a kriya. Suppose if in the sleep I kick somebody, and even if I hurt somebody else, what prashchit am I going to do? I've done it in my sleep. So all these duties, when they are done, niyatam karma jayo ya karmana. So what he's saying, he akarmana, the last word is jayo he akarmana. So this duty, this doing is way superior to not doing. So what it is first is not doing. So that is that kami, what we talked about, kami, who has desires, but he won't do anything. See, a kami not doing anything externally and a sannyasi also not doing external is the same. But then sannyasi is not equal to a kami because sannyasi has no desires. So not doing is, from not doing, you bring the person into doing. Even if you have to show a carrot, do it. And I had given you the example of our caretaker. She was our caretaker. Then her friends must have told her, wherever she heard, if you become a healthcare worker, you will get benefits. That is the carrot. And of course, her minimum wage has gone up. Healthcare workers get paid more than caretakers. So whatever may be the carrot, a person who is not doing at all, give him motivation. There are 2 words there, motivation and inspiration. Motivation is external, outside. It's what we call in a common language a carrot. And inspiration is from within. So when there is inspiration, motivation is not required. That's why all the volunteer work that people are doing for the mission and for Swamijis is out of inspiration, because they are not expecting any kind of external result to come. So not doing, doing. In doing, it could be illegal means, not allowed. Doing with all correct means, absolutely no problem. Then doing without likes and dislikes. So you bring in the sense of duty. Okay. So without attachment, no karma asakti, no kartrutva asakti, and no karma phala asakti. So doership and result, all 3 detached from all 3. Sense of duty. And then from this doing with, go to doing with detachment. And then again you can go to not doing, but this last not doing is now sannyas. It's renunciation. Where you have, where the doer, see, what is the difference between karma yoga and karma sannyas? In karma yoga, the doership is there, but it is surrendered to a higher altar. So I say that I'm doing, but I'm doing it for my guru. I'm doing it for God. I'm doing it for country, for my little baby, for my family, for my whoever, etc., etc., etc. I'm doing it for them. Whereas in karma sannyas, that doership is destroyed. That's the difference. Karma yoga and so from karma yoga, you need to go into karma sannyas. But to go, it could take many births. Huh? It's not that simple. So it's, yeah, don't think that, oh yeah, but that is the way. If you're not even in karma yoga, karma sannyas is not possible. Because you see, it's like this. If some unmarried person comes and says, I want to get a divorce, what are we going to say? Well, you divorce? You're not even married. So the prerequisite for a divorce is marriage. Right? So prerequisite for karma sannyas is karma. Please understand. Through karma, you have to go into karma sannyas. If you, in the beginning only, you renounce it physically,
Jayaji frozen.
It's a little bit of,
oh,
there you
okay.
go.
Am I okay? Yeah, my internet connection is giving me trouble. I don't know. This happened yesterday also. Okay. Is it okay now? Sorry about that. It's my internet, though nobody else is using internet in my house right now. But anyway, so karma sannyas. Did you hear the part where one for the prerequisite for divorce is marriage? Because if you're not married, how can you get a divorce? Same way. The prerequisite for karma sannyas is karma. Please understand. So that's why Gurudev has said, freedom in action. We have to learn to discover freedom in action, not freedom from action. Freedom from action is escapism. You're escaping, you're running away from the war. Arjun, you want to run away from the war. You're trying to escape the war. You stay here, you fight the war, and in that action, discover freedom in the action. And discovering freedom in action, there's a huge difference between in and from. Okay, from is physical renunciation. In is there is no physical renunciation, but in your mind you have gotten freedom from the doership, you've got freedom from the action, you've got freedom from result. That's why it is freedom in action. Discover freedom in action, not from action. That's why, because without action you cannot live even for a minute. Already Bhagavan has said. And understand, realize that actions you are not doing. Prakriti is doing it. Your nature is doing it. So if your nature is predominantly sattvic, those type of thoughts will come, those type of actions will come. If you're predominantly rajasic, those thoughts will come, those type of actions will come. If you're predominantly tamasic, that will be the result. So that's why as a spiritual seeker, we need to develop more and more sattva. So we need to work on the mind more than trying to run away from actions outside. And Sharira Yatra Chate, until the Yatra is journey, until the journey of this body, Sharira is body, means what? Means until death, actions will continue. Until death, you're breathing. That's it. That's an action. So even if you don't do anything, no, I won't watch TV, I won't eat, I won't do, you're breathing, no? That's why he says, until the journey of the body ends, action will continue. So try and discover freedom in the action itself. At a more lower level. So duty, what is duty? Let's just, I think there's a few notes that I'd made from this thing. It is that karma which is assigned to you as per your position in life. So Varna Ashram duty, right? So you're a brahmachari, then your duty is to study. If you're a grahastha, then your duty is to manage the family. If you're a vanaprastha, then the duty becomes more swadhyaya, studies. And if you're a sannyasi, of course, we are not there. So this is what duty is. How do I know what is my duty? I told you, if you take up a job, then that becomes your duty. Whatever job that you take up, it is your duty. But then there are these duties as a brahmachari or a this thing. So varna and ashrama, or if your tendencies are that of Brahmin. So I'm not going to say by birth, but those days. So for Arjun, if he were to take, he was born in a Kshatriya family, and that duty was. One thing Gurudev also has said, that learn to like or learn to love what that which is your duty. That is the best place to be in. That I have to do these studies. If I love to do those studies, or if I have to do a particular type of work, I love to do that work. And I think I gave you the example of my nephew. He loves to fly planes and he's a pilot. So he says, it's like they're paying me for to do something which I most enjoy. Best place to be. He says, I would have done it free because I love flying so much. We will see what I like to do. I will do it for free also, or I pay money and do, don't I? I'll go to an amusement park and I love to go on the Ferris wheel or this or that. I will pay money and do it. So do everything with a sense of duty, which will give you detachment. And then duty also, you should not get bored. Like, see, it's your duty. Now this is what I have to do. And if I'm getting bored, then that is not correct either. This is this thing. And as per karma kanda also, that's one more point. The naimittika karma, the daily duty is done for gain in this life. So if you're going to a job, then you earn money and you get money. But naimittika karma, karma kandins, they do it for future birth, means heavens. I do puja, agnihotra karma, this karma, that karma. That is meant for afterlife. Any questions? Is it clear? Is any this thing? Okay, we will talk a little bit more about this. By which we become, this is Niyatam Kuru, is that by which we become extraordinary from ordinary. Ordinary is a karmi. See, you have desires and you're working. What's the big deal about it? Your desires, you're working hard for that, right? No big deal. But karma yoga is the one who is striving to purify his mind. So he becomes more special, he or she becomes more special than the karmi. All right. Now it will sort of, the verses will get easier. I think most of these points we have discussed in either one or the other text. All okay? Any questions? Yes.
JG, I'm curious to know what the best course of action is. You mentioned, when we take on a job, that is our duty, and that is what we undertake. I think there's a lot of talk now of also knowing where to draw boundaries, and sometimes there are people who can be working a lot, or work can be demanding of them. How do we know when it's our duty, and how do we know when we're being asked too much, or what that sort of stuff, where it's maybe harming some of the other parts of our lives?
Yeah, very good question, because I do think that there is more and more expectation now, because there are less and less people, and now the expectation is becoming more and more. The one thing that because what will happen is then the one who is being asked to do more and he does more will be given a more bonus or a more promotion or whatever, right? Now, if you think that it is now interfering with your family life, it is interfering with your time with your children, then you need to sacrifice that bonus, promotion, whatever. You need to sacrifice that, because that sacrifice of money or power or position is for your children, because you don't have enough time to do that. That's where you'll have to make a choice. That will be your choice, because you will know that those who do work hard and put in hard work, they do get, they will get promotion, whatever, right? Yeah, it's see, and I'll tell you, see, now I'll tell you the example of my son, because now that he has a child, which he didn't have, so when he didn't have the child, he was working extraordinary hours, and yeah, and they did recognize it, and yes, then he did get a promotion, blah blah blue blue, and then now he has a child. So when his manager asked him because they asked, what is your future plans, he said, I want to go part-time, he said, and if you can't make it happen, I'm going to quit. Which like put me in kind of a shock, because he's hardly 40. And I said, why? He said, Mom, I want to spend time with my child. I want to spend time with Kenzo. Because I said, you know what? And honestly, I said, well, Dad worked full time. I worked, we raised you. He said, yeah, but Dad was much younger, because he's 40 now, my son, right? And now he has a 1.5-year-old child. So he says, Mom, I am already quite old, because I want to be with him more because once he grows up to a teenage, he's not going to want me around. And I'm willing to give up. I'll be okay, he said, Mom, I'll be okay. So see, now he's made a choice. So his manager, actually, it was funny. He said, no, I will make it happen. I will make sure that you remain part-time, because I want you to stay, because he has already put in that much work to prove his worth. You see? So when you have the chance, do that, so that when you want to withdraw, they will allow you to. See, if he was not working, he would have said, yeah, go, quit. Right? The manager, boss would have said, okay, you want to quit, you quit. It's for your son, you quit. But he says, no, I will make it happen. What will actually happen, I don't know. Right now, he is in a full-time position. But he says, as Kenzo grows older and he starts understanding more, I want to be able to take him to the park and play with him and teach him things to an extent where he actually also has told me that for 1 year, I will be moving to Japan so that Kenzo learns Japanese perfectly. See, now he is making all those sacrifices for his son. And I said, Japan, he said, yeah, I'm going to tell Canfor that because anyway now, because of COVID, everybody is working remotely. What is the difference? Whether I'm in Japan or wherever, if they don't allow me, I quit and go, he said, because I want Kenzo to learn Japanese, because when he learns at that stage, it'll be firm in his mind. Now, this is what you have to think, which is greater to me. Does that answer your question? Because now what Neil is thinking is, my duty to my son is greater than this job. Right? So it's difficult choice. Yeah. I said, okay, fine. Immediately I told him, then 2 months I'm coming and staying in 1 whole year alone. What I will do here? I said, I'm coming for. He says, yes, no, you come. I'll be gone for 2 months.
And you can take classes from Japan.
From Japan, yeah. If the time matches. No, I'll probably do it in July and August, something like that. I mean, just way ahead in time. I don't know. So that's how it is. All right. That's why this chapter is, it is, now I start as I'm going further, I'm thinking which chapter is really not important. I don't think there is any chapter like that. So this is very important for us. Okay, we will meet next Sunday, and some of you I'll meet tomorrow as well.